Hello and welcome back to the channel, and this week, yes, I want to talk about why I was not just the director but also the DOP, the Director of Photography, on my independent feature film sci-fi comedy Gardener's Planet, a film that was over 3 years in the making. So this week's video comes from a comment I got on another video about this fact, and I just thought it'd be an interesting opportunity to talk about why I did take on this extra role. Is it because I love all the extra work? No, not necessarily. So let's go on an honest journey, looking at honestly what the pros and cons are of taking on all this extra work. So if you don't know, most films have a separate director and a separate cinematographer or camera operator, and there's a lot of reasons for this. One reason is simply because the unions wouldn't allow one person to have two different jobs. And also it used to be that the cameras used to be just so much more bigger and a lot more complex than they are now. So it simply wasn't possible to do for one person to do both jobs. So when it comes to making an independent feature film, there's a lot of misinformation out there. People telling you what you can and cannot do and what gear you should and shouldn't buy. And my experience is you can actually do a lot more than people say you can do, and you also need a lot less gear than people might convince you to buy as well. So one of the primary reasons I decided to do cinematography is because, you know, I love doing the camera. It can be that simple. There's nothing wrong with that. The heart of filmmaking has to be, you know, holding a camera and pointing it at an actor as they give a great performance. And it's a great privilege to be able to do that, and there's a lot of simple joy that comes from that simple interaction as well. And that is definitely the highlight of the job for me. And as much has and still will change in filmmaking, I don't think that will really ever change. So going into this project as a cinematographer, I definitely was out of practice. I had made a lot of shorts, but I hadn't really been serious about the camera and doing the camera in a while. And so it wasn't until COVID in 2020 that I actually got my own Blackmagic cinema pocket camera, the camera that we're shooting on here. And really between 2020 and 2022, as we began to hype up production of Gardener's Planet, I got a job in a hotel as a videographer, and I just got familiar with the camera in terms of the lenses it's using, where to put the batteries, the color temperature and the ISO. And even though I made a number of mistakes on the project, that was definitely time well spent, and I learned so much about the camera in that time. So cinema is obviously going through a number of seismic changes at the moment, and I just think the more hard skills you have, the more you'll be able to survive this period of transition. And while I don't consider myself an expert cinematographer in any way, shape or form, but I'm totally comfortable putting a camera up on a tripod and putting up a couple of lights and able to make a half decent setup. And I think, you know, that's a basic skill level that all filmmakers should have. And it's also worth saying that, you know, I also wanted to own everything, own all my own equipment. I had spent a lot of years wasting loads of money renting gear. So I was really pleased that over the years 2020 to 2022, all the gear I was building up and buying, I was able to use on the feature film, and I'm now able to continue using on the vlogs. So this answer is probably the most obvious and the least surprising, that it obviously would save money if I would be the cinematographer as well as the director. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone. That would mean feeding an extra person, it would mean putting another person up for accommodation, and it obviously didn't make sense in terms of that I had spent the previous 2 or 3 years building up this gear to just ignore that as if that had never happened. And yeah, whatever money we did have, I wanted to put that into areas that were totally not within my wheelhouse in terms of the accommodation and the catering and just paying the actors. All those things just ate up a lot of change. So yeah, it's unquestionable to me that by me doing the cinematography, we obviously saved a lot of money as opposed to getting someone else. Now, could this other external theoretical person have done a better job than me? Yeah, of course, there's almost no question that. But you know, in saying that, I do think there's something fantastic that when you're on set and the guy who wrote the script is also the guy holding the camera, pointing at the actor. I think there's something fantastic about that. There's something more immersive in that for the audience. And there's no kind of middleman between the actor as well and the script. You know, the guy who wrote the script is right there, he's right beside you. So it creates a fantastic bond of collaboration where you can answer all the questions without any hesitation. And I also did always want to treat this filmmaking experience as a huge upskilling journey from where my skills were in 2022 at the start of the project to where my skills are now. There's just no question they're so much better, and I'm really proud of that. So yes, in terms of that all-important question, what gear did we use to shoot the camera? I'm going to tell you right now, and I've it written down here so I don't make any mistakes. In terms of the camera, we shot on the Blackmagic Cinema Pocket 4K camera. Wow, what a Trojan this camera has been. It's filming me here right now. We shot on a mix just through error. 4096 by 2160 and 3840 by 2160 is the Ultra HD, but it was mostly 4096 by 2160 at 25 frames a second. And yeah, I wouldn't shoot on anything else. I got a bit of abuse for 25 frames. Maybe I should have been 24 or 23.98, but it's all good. In terms of the lenses, I only used 2 lenses because I could only afford 2 lenses. The Lumix 12-35, which is what I'm shooting on right here, and the Lumix 25mm. So obviously the Lumix 12-35 is what I mostly used for my wides and my close-up shots, and the 25mm was just kind of randomly somewhere in the middle. And then in terms of the gimbal, we shot on the DJI RS2 gimbal. That's more the lower end, just slightly above the amateur end. And with the Blackmagic and that whole controversial battery situation, I only ever used NPF batteries, so the RS2 gimbal could just about handle that. So I put the battery on the top and the gimbal could just about make do with that. But anything bigger than those, it would have been too heavy for the RS2. But did a great job, and the gimbal added a lot of production value to the film. And as we went on, we actually shot more and more on the gimbal, so I was really pleased with that. In terms of the lights, we had the Aperture 60D, which survived the whole shoot and is my oldest surviving light. The Godox VL300. I think we blew up one of those and we got another one, and we also got a Godox VL150. I don't know which one we blew up, but we blew up one of them and we replaced one for Block 2. And that's pretty much all we shot the film on. So, you know, those 3 or 4 lights, that camera, that gimbal, and obviously a tripod. So it wasn't a huge thing, not at all. It couldn't be because we had such a small crew, you know, and I knew I was the director as well. So I wouldn't have been able to manage a huge amount of gear time-wise either. Okay, yes, in terms of my biggest mistakes, this is a bit controversial. My biggest mistake cinematography-wise in Block 1, unquestionably, was the color temperature. Basically what I did was I had in my head that the ISO was 400, so because I'm so dyslexic, I just had the number 4 in my head, so I was setting the color temperature to 4,400, which is 1,000 degrees below where it should be at 5,500 or 5,600. So for all of Block 1, the color temperature was actually off, and I was like, oh, I was so annoyed with this. I can still remember when I discovered it right at the end of Block 1 going, oh my god, what have I done? And I was worried. Well, the effect this had then was that all the footage that you're essentially telling the camera that blue is white, so the camera is recalibrating everything from that. So the camera now has completely mixed up what the colors are, and I was afraid I would be stuck with those blue kind of muted tones. But thankfully I was able to fix that in post later. Phew. And the other big mistake then I made in Block 1 was I just shot way too much of it on the tripod, and this kind of and this tripod just kind of killed the energy and spontaneity of the film. A film that should be fast moving, fun, it's about aliens, felt very static and rigid and, like I was saying, low energy. And one of the major reasons that we came back again for Block 2, apart from not being able to get the footage that we hadn't shot the first time, was to replace those very tripod-y shots near the start of the film. Even simple shots like having the gimbal do a little bit of this in an over-the-shoulder shot or a close-up gave it a kind of fun, restless energy that meant that it never sagged or dropped. Doing that did give me an appreciation for John Carpenter, you know, who shot so much of his stuff on tripod and can make it work, but I wasn't able to, so the gimbal really helped me out there in Block 2 in terms of getting the energy back into the film. So the cinematography definitely got better as we went along over the course of the 3 years. And while I'm proud of everything I shot, I definitely feel the stuff towards the end of the film was the best, as we got more and more ambitious. The 3 nights of night shooting we did here in Cork to shoot the climax is definitely something I'm so proud of, as that required so much more work and focus and skill. And we really did get some great stuff, and I'm grateful to the amazing crew who really brought their A game to that, and we really helped end the film on a high note. So yeah, overall I would define the cinematography of Gardener's Planet as a kind of personal photography. It's not the world's best cinematography, but it doesn't need to be either. And even the shots in the film, which are a bit cruder and rougher, I actually really kind of like, as it kind of gives the film a cool homemade quality, which I actually really enjoy, if I'm honest. And I also think it's important that as we willingly or not further explore this weird world of AI, having some imperfections or flaws in the film can actually be a positive thing, because it shows the humanity and the work that's going on behind the screen to get those images up there. And humanity is ultimately what we respond to when we go and watch a film. And with that, yes, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found any of this informative or entertaining, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll be back with another video all about the world of independent cinema very, very soon.